And talking to my neighbor, Stan McDonald, up here this morning. Good to see you up this early.
Well, it's great to be seen, Jamie. Thank you.
Yeah. You've got a new thing going on, McDonald and Associates. What is that?
Correct. Well, McDonald and Associates, as you know, I've been a real estate attorney for 18 years. But a few years ago, we started seeing some changing dynamics in real estate. A lot of times, we had people who had problems, and they were trying to sell their house. And that problem was that because of some declining real estate values, their homes were no longer what they were used to be worth. And they would try to sell their house. They'd come to us and they said, well, we bought our house for $180,000 a few years ago, but now my realtor tells me it's only worth $150,000, and they might own $180,000 on it. It's called underwater. It's a national problem.
It's not a good thing.
It's not a good thing, no. They say, the national statistics say that almost 1 out of every 3 Americans right now, their homes are underwater.
How much?
They owe more, 1 out of 3, almost 33%.
My goodness.
Of Americans. Now, that may not all be the case in North Alabama, but when you start factoring in places like Arizona and Florida and California, it's a real high percentage. When we sit down and talk to people, if there's 5 people in a room, usually there's at least 1 person in there whose home is underwater.
Underwater basically meaning you owe more for that home than it's worth.
That's correct. Yeah, because a lot of people in some of the lending practices a few years back, which people are pretty familiar with, people were buying homes at 100% loan. Like if they bought a home for $180,000, they borrowed $180,000. And now they find themselves in a situation where they really need to sell it. Maybe they've got to move, or maybe there was some kind of, problem, but they've got to go, and it only sells for $140, let's just say.
Are people screwed in that situation?
Well, there's help, though.
Well, that's exactly why we came into being, because we saw this about 2 years ago coming. We did a lot of studying on it, a lot of research, and we started our company, McDonald and Associates, and it's really, really helping a lot of people.
Now, if I understand correctly, you are one of the very few, if not the only person that is offering a service like this.
We think we're the only one we've really seen. There's a few national companies that come in, they do it different than us, and they charge.
But you're not a 1-800 number. Call me.
They charge a lot of money up front. They work on loan modifications and so forth. We get right to the heart of the thing, trying to help people short. So we don't get paid until there's a success that occurs.
How does it work if someone calls you today? They're underwater. They call Stan McDonald Associates. What are you going to tell these people?
Well, we have to find out their information. We find out who their lender is. We find out if they have multiple lenders, and if they do have multiple lenders, that's okay. The bigger the problem, the more we can help. And then we go ahead and contact their lender and say, look, there's a underwater situation. There's a possible imminent default, meaning that they're just not going to be able to make the payments anymore. That being the case, let's go ahead and begin the negotiation process of how these people can sell this home. And part of success for us is that they're able to sell the home and they not even have a deficiency judgment. In other words, that once it's sold, they don't still owe the bank. Now that depends on some factors that we wouldn't be able to uncover. So
but it's a possibility.
It is an absolute possibility.
And you said there's also
in most cases
that most people can stay in that house till
they can stay in the house. In fact, national lenders understand, and this is important. A lot of people think these lenders, they want to foreclose. They don't want to foreclose. The national statistics show that they save 40%. The lender, Chase, Wells Fargo, someone like that, saves 40% if they will short sale as opposed to foreclose.
Dang.
So when we call them up and tell them and show them that we know the system, they have a big bureaucracy they have to work under. But when we know the system and can work it through in a skillful way, they are more than happy to short sale as opposed to foreclose. And they're glad for someone to stay in the home, keep it up. You see a lot of these foreclosures, people abandon the house. When they abandon the house, the values go down. When foreclosure happens, values go down in the community, in the neighborhood. We tell people this is a win-win-win-win situation for lender, homeowner, buyer, and realtor who's trying to move the property.
Now, the people in our area, Athens, Huntsville, Decatur, Florence area, what type of people can you assist right now?
Well, anybody who, some of the key words I used a moment ago, where they're underwater, they really need to sell their home, and there's an imminent default. In other words, for whatever life circumstance reasons, and there's an abundant number of possible life circumstance reasons, they see in the foreseeable future that they may not be able to make their payments. And the lenders literally want those people to be proactive, and they want them to call them. Now, and they can call them, and they'll work with them. but we have a lot of experience with it. And we know the programs, we know the nuances, we know exactly what the lender's looking for to help this thing go through in a quick, efficient way.
At what point do people need to contact your company?
Whenever they feel like that there's,
I'm
again,
missing
possible
one
imminent
payment?
default. Well, if they think that they're going to have trouble next 2 or 3 payments where they're in potential risk of foreclosure or default, then they should contact us.
So
The lenders truly
there
want
is
to-
light at the end of the tunnel for these people.
the thing that we like about what we're doing, I'm about as happy with the work that we're doing right now as I ever have been, because we're helping so many people. There's absolutely solutions. We are at a time and place right now where lenders want to work with homeowners on these problems. It's to their benefit.
Where are you located? Where's your office stand?
Well, we have 2 offices, one in Huntsville, one in Madison. Our main office that works with these is in Madison, near the intersection of Highway 72 and Slaughter Road.
So people need to call your number, make an appointment, and see you or one of your associates over there. And
Correct.
Basically, you can help folks.
We really, really do. We've helped a lot of people this past year, and it's unfortunately there are more and more people that are having this problem, and so that's why we want to get the word out. When there really is, again, lenders want people to be proactive. There's hope and there's help. They just need to call.
Just call you and you'll talk to them about it? You don't charge them to talk to them on the
Yeah,
phone?
we charge nothing until they have a successful conclusion, which means that they're closing and selling their home. By the way, I need to say this. Lenders are oftentimes, depending on some things, more than happy to literally pay homeowners to sell their home this way. They'll give them what's called moving expenses, up to $8,500. We helped someone last week. They got $10,000 at closing. It's not because their house sold and was worth it. It's because the lender was helping them through this process.
So the lender's not the enemy.
Thank you, Jamie. It's really important to understand that.
Well, I knew when I first met with you about that, you were passionate about it. You had been working on this for a year or 2, and then finally you brought it to reality.
Right.
All right, Stan, look forward to having you back up here again,
Thanks.
explaining that more. Stan McDonald, McDonald & Associates. Y'all give him a call if you're underwater or whatever. Stan can help you out, I guess, with any real estate needs.
1143.
That's correct.
Closing attorney, too. We'll take a break, come back with City Council President Harold Wells, fill us in on what's happening in Athens. Y'all, hang on.